Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon and welcome. I am Jessica Burton. I'm a study abroad advisor here at Georgia State University and the moderator of today's session. I am honored to be part of a great team in study abroad programs where our mission is to enable our diverse students to pursue international academic experiences that are not only enriching for themselves personally and for their success, but contribute to their global citizenship. So please come speak to us in study abroad programs if you want to learn more. And you can go to our website at mystudyabroad.gsu.edu also to learn more. So I'd like to welcome you today to GSU's Spring 2023 Global Career Series. This series features representatives from globally connected organizations here in Atlanta to talk to students and recent graduates about rewarding opportunities to work in global spaces, either in Atlanta or abroad. Okay, so we hope you will feel inspired to get out there, pursue global careers, volunteer, find internships offered by these organizations today or on any other of our panels this week. Okay, this series is organized each semester by the Atlanta Global Studies Center, the Center for Urban Language Teaching and Research, University Career Services, GSU's Global Studies Program, and Study Abroad programs. So to learn more, please visit the websites that you'll see in the chat, okay? Today's session will focus on international and community-based organizations in Atlanta. We're delighted to bring you representatives from Clarkston Community Center, the International Rescue Committee, CARE USA, Japan America Society of Georgia, and Asian Americans Advancing Justice in Atlanta. Our panelists are Shannon Fikes and Tayla Osborne from the Clarkston Community Center, Erika Denman from the International Rescue Committee, Fahs from CARE USA, Trent Tsunafuji and Sophie Monsibais from the Japan American Society of Georgia, and Noor Abbady from Asian Americans Advancing Justice. Okay, so in just a moment, I will invite the panelists to introduce themselves and tell us more about their organizations. But before we get into that, I do want to go over a few housekeeping items. As a reminder, our session is being recorded, so we ask that you keep your mics muted to avoid any background noise. After the presentations, we will have a moderated Q&A. So there are some prepared questions, but if at any point in time you feel inspired to ask a question or find out more information, you can just pop your question there in the chat. I will be monitoring it, and I'll make sure that you are heard by our panelists. So without further ado, let's go ahead and learn who our panelists are today. Why don't we begin with Shannon and Tayla from the Clarkston Community Center? Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Sorry about that. Okay, well, my name is Shannon Fikes. I'm here I am the Youth OST Coordinator with Clarkston Community Center. Here at Clarkston Community Center, our mission statement is connecting communities and cultural through education, recreation, and the arts. Clarkston Community Center was opened doors back in 1994, and we keep growing over every year. Currently, we have served over 60,000 individuals here at the center. We here are at a meeting place for both long-term residents and families that were not born in the U.S. In fact, 43% of Clarkston residents are foreign-born. The Clarkston Community Center, we also provide unique experiences as well as educational resources and valuable tools that foster community while celebrating cultural diversity. Here at our career paths at the center, we offer great intern and volunteer experiences interested in the following sectors here, from anywhere from public administration, education, social work, and management, and also some more that you see listed above. We have a ESL class, which is a English as a second language. And that's one of our longest running programs, which is the Senior Refugee Program. And it provides exercise, fellowship, recreational opportunities to some of our most vulnerable students and residents, as well as it's offered virtual classes currently. We used to have in person, but it's not currently going on, but the virtual classes are still in existence, anywhere from beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses. And it's also partnered with the DeKalb Public Library Systems. Our Clarkston After School Quiet Zone, that's one of the programs that I oversee, that is our after school program. It's the mission of the Clarkston After School Quiet Zone 2.0 program is equipped to youth with college and career readiness skills by also providing after school programming that promotes the following, anywhere from academic proficiency in core curriculum subjects, leadership skills, self-awareness, conflict management, goal setting, self-advocacy, diversity, equity, competency, and also cultural literacy. And I'll hand it over to Tayla.
Sorry, guys, we're having some technical difficulties. So
yeah, why don't you just have someone else start talking, and it doesn't matter what the visual is.
right, so sorry. We also have the Leaders of Tomorrow program, which is the program that I am. I'm an intern at Georgia State. That's the program that I mostly work with. The Leaders of Tomorrow program is with high school students, 9th through 12th grade. And with that program, it is a program that the Clarkston Community Center did pilot. It is in partnership with the national nonprofit, the Institute of Educational and Leadership program. And this is a program that we use to help mobilize BIPOC, immigrant, and refugee students, and basically help them eliminate systemic barriers within their communities and create conditions and cultures and which help them drive success. With that, we are currently looking for interns with our summer camp program that we have, which is a STEAM program that starts in June. It is, since it's STEAM oriented, we mainly focus on science, technology, engineering, arts, and the mathematics. And it also helps build stronger English communication skills with those refugees and immigrant students. We also have a parent advocacy training that we will be relaunching in the fall. We just finished our first session this past December. And with parent advocacy, our main focus is to help parents learn to advocate for their children, as well as teach parents that they are the forefront of their children's education. And the reason I chose this program, I am a senior at Georgia State University. I chose this program because a teacher I had introduced me to it, and a teacher I had introduced me to this program, and it gave me an opportunity to basically work in a nonprofit sector, as I have already interned with a campaigning sector. So I wanted to basically work with different parts of our different parts of the political science major, and I have enjoyed every second of it. And with Ms. Shannon. I do. You can just talk about mine.
Okay, I'm sorry. And how I joined the organization because based off the mission statement where it says, I believed in the mission of connecting communities and different cultures and backgrounds through education, recreation, and arts. And me being from Canada, was a good fit for the program and the organization. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It sounds like there are several really promising opportunities for Georgia State students to get involved with your organization. I'll be looking forward to coming back and asking you more questions about how they can do so. Right. So let's just go ahead and move along to our next organization represented here, and that would be Erika Denman with the International Rescue Committee. Can you tell us a little bit more, Erika, about your organization and yourself?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll introduce myself, but I do have a PowerPoint as well. So my name is Erika Denman. I am the volunteer coordinator at the IRC in Atlanta. And I actually started as an intern while I was a GSU student back in January last year. I had applied for 13 internships because I was extremely interested in just getting my foot in the door. And right at the end of the internship, I got hired on. So I'm really excited to do this today, in particular, speaking to GSU students, because I just graduated in December and I got my college to career started through an internship. So I'll go ahead and share. Here we go. Okay. Alrighty. So everyone can see the IRC presentation, correct? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm working with a triple monitor. So the IRC responds to the world's worst humanitarian crises, helping to restore health, safety, education, economic well-being, and power to people that have been devastated by conflict and disaster. And the IRC in Atlanta in particular creates opportunities for refugees and immigrants to integrate and thrive in Georgia communities. We are under the same regional executive director as Miami and Tallahassee. So while our office focuses on refugees for the most part, the Miami and Tallahassee offices typically focus on victims of human trafficking. So just within this small region in the United States, the IRC has a lot of ways to advocate for minority, underserved communities. So this is where we currently operate in the US. We have expanded during COVID, oddly enough, but the need for refugee resettlement and assistance for victims of human trafficking, those needs haven't really slowed down. In fact, they've probably increased even more due to COVID and the effects that it brought with it, especially to those countries that are already dealing with war and conflict. And the IRC in Atlanta opened in 1979 in response to a refugee crisis in relation to Vietnam. And since our opening in 1979, we have welcomed over 27,000 refugees from 67 different countries to rebuild their lives in Georgia communities. So I'm guessing some of our humanities majors might know this, but just for everyone's information, a refugee is a person who is outside of their country and unable or unwilling to return because of persecution or a well-founded fear of persecution. And there are 5 types. There's race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. And this is the definition per international law. So we have quite a few other slides in our longer slideshow, but I do just want to highlight as well that we provide more holistic services to our clients. So we don't look at people as okay, we just need to get them a house or we just need to get them a job. We look at mental health services, getting people enrolled in school, providing after school tutoring. We have ESL classes as well. We have both virtual and in person. And so there's opportunities to intern, volunteer with pretty much all of our departments. Some of our departments are going to require like more of a specialization. For example, if you're working on the resettlement team, they would typically prefer candidates that are going to be focusing on social work. But there are a lot of ways that you can get involved and learn more about the IRC. Our next orientation is on April 19th. And then I will put my information in the chat box as well for people to be able to reach out. But then for the volunteer and intern process, you would need to attend orientation, fill in that volunteer interest form, or complete an internship application on the IRC careers website for Atlanta. You want to definitely communicate your availability and preferences. We do require a background check since you're going to be working with vulnerable populations. Then you'll receive an introduction and placement email and start logging your monthly hours. Yeah, so, and then there is our contact information if you're interested in following us on socials or want to reach out via email or check out our website.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Erika. That's some really great and important, powerful work that you guys are doing over there in IRC. And I'll definitely be interested in hearing more. I'm sure our students would love some insight about how you were able to kind of secure that position with IRC as a recent graduate. So thank you. Let's go ahead and hear from Katie Fahs from Care USA. Katie, what can you tell us about Care USA and the work that's going on there?
Okay, let me just get my share my screen and okay, trying to slideshow. Are you seeing the Care PowerPoint? Okay, great. So Care is an international NGO. NGO stands for non-government organization. We operate in over 100 countries around the world, and we've been doing this work since just at the very end of World War II. So we have 75 years of experience fighting poverty. Our work falls into 4 key buckets. Those are food and water systems, which includes a lot of our climate change and climate sustainability work. Health equity and rights, which includes a lot of women's reproductive rights, gender justice, and emergency and humanitarian aid. So we don't do every project in every service area in every country, but across all 100 countries, we have a very wide range of things we work on. In addition to what I would call our program areas, which are the ones I just reviewed, we have a lot of support areas that are what make the programs possible. So we do advocacy, which involves talking to elected officials about the importance of international aid and the importance of the work we do. We have a fundraising because you need funding to make all this happen. Also, because you need funding to make all this happen, we have a competitive bids unit, which is about preparing US government proposals. We get a lot of funding from organizations like USAID, which is the Foreign International Development Aid arm of the State Department. We have a marketing department, we have a finance department, we have a human resources department. I often say to people, a lot of the functions you would find in a for-profit enterprise, you will also find in a nonprofit enterprise, because those functions are necessary to keep any organization going. If for people who are interested in our program areas, so that's sort of the food and water systems, the health equity and rights. This is the typical career path we see. It's not going to be 100% everybody, but the vast majority of people you meet who work in these areas will have majored in any of a number of different things undergraduate. They will have spent some significant time, and by significant time, I mean more than 12 consecutive months, a couple of years in the type of community that we serve. So a lot of people have been involved with Peace Corps, Partners in Health, UNICEF. Maybe they worked for USAID, so they understand how international development funding decisions get made. And they often have some kind of language proficiency. We have 4 official languages at CARE: English, French, Spanish, and Arabic are our official languages. And then, of course, in a lot of countries, there are local languages, but that people may or may not speak, but we operate in those 4 official languages. Then typically, people after having spent some time overseas, they'll get a master's degree in a relevant field. And that tends to be public health, international affairs, something called a master's in development practice, which is kind of like a business degree for someone who wants to run nonprofits, is the way I would describe a master's in development practice for people. And most of our interns tend to be pursuing a master's degree. I'd say 70% of our interns are master's level students, 30% are undergraduate. Undergraduates will be noticed in our applicant pool if they've spent significant time working with the types of people we serve. So if you have volunteered with International Rescue Committee, if you have volunteered with Clarkston Community Services, that's the kind of thing where we say, oh, this person has experience. They might not have been able to leave the United States, but they have experience with the types of issues and the types of community we serve. And that makes them someone who would probably be able to contribute in an internship at CARE. In our support areas, the kinds of qualifications we're looking for very much depend on the role. Advocacy, if you've worked with an elected official, if you've worked on a campaign, particularly in a policy position on a campaign, if you've been an intern on Capitol Hill or at the Georgia State House, that's the kind of experience we're looking for. Fundraising, any kind of experience where you've had to raise money would be helpful background. Sort of our institutional funding and competitive bids work with the US government. Having done a lot of research, knowing how to write well. If you have any experience with USAID, that is very helpful. Marketing, either an undergraduate major in marketing or job experience in that field, and same thing with finance and HR. And the types of, and for internships, we're pretty much looking for the same types of things. Our advocacy interns tend to be studying political science, government, international affairs. Our fundraiser interns tend to have done some kind of nonprofit fundraising, often as a volunteer, maybe doing an event like Race for the Cure, but sort of understanding a bit how fundraising works. And competitive bids, like I said, evidence of good research and writing skills, marketing, having digital savvy, knowing social media, because so much of our communications have moved to social media across a variety of platforms. And with finance and HR, an undergraduate major in those types of areas. I do have a couple slides here on just kind of general career advice in terms of if you're looking to get into any of these areas with any of the organizations we're talking about today. I think right now, you need to think about playing the long game. Like, where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years? No one's going to come back to you and say, hey, 15 years ago, you said this, what are you doing now? But I think it gives you a roadmap of the kinds of skills you're trying to develop, and you can adjust as you go and adjust based on your experience and what you like and don't like about your intern and volunteer positions. But having a sense of where you're trying to head is really, really important. I think being willing to accept lower pay for a more relevant experience is really important. And that can be a little challenging sometimes because internships may not pay as much as a job that doesn't, an internship that has career potential could pay less than a job that has no career potential. So you need to kind of balance that and think about, what kind of experience and what kind of career growth am I getting from an internship that might make it worth it. And sometimes, some internships are 20 hours a week. So you can often combine that with particularly in the summer, you could combine that with a paying job, a job that pays a little more elsewhere to kind of make things work. But internships are basically about building exposure and experience. And I also always encourage people to cast a wide net when looking for internships. I think Erika's point about I applied to 13 things, that's the way you got to think about it. There may be one organization you're like totally in love with, and that's great, but a lot of planets have to line up for an internship offer to come through, and you've got to be willing to cast a wide net to maximize the chances of you getting your foot in the door somewhere. Because once you get one internship, that can lead to other internships, but you've got to get your foot in the door somewhere. And then once you have an internship, make sure you make the most of it. Obviously do your best work. Even, at CARE, we do hire interns, but we don't hire nearly as many interns as we bring in. because we just aren't as that big an organization, and things have to open up on the timing an internship is ending. So your manager may not be able to hire you, but they can be a reference when you apply to other organizations. So that's an important thing to be aware of. Make sure you're checking in with your manager, make sure you're meeting their expectations, and you know, so that you know that you're on track to do a good job. Take advantage of any trainings you're being offered. A lot of organizations have trainings that you can take for free. Try to meet as many people as possible. I think we might talk a little bit about networking later, but that's really important. And then at the end of the internship, make sure you've connected with all your coworkers and managers on LinkedIn, and try to stay in touch with people over the years, because that is the key to building over time a network of people who are doing interesting things in other organizations, and making sure you're aware of what's going on in job opportunities along the way. So that was very quick, an overview of CARE and a little bit about internships in general. And thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today.
Thank you so much, Katie. That was a very comprehensive, you know, overview of CARE USA, and gave the students not only kind of an introduction to the organization, but some career advice on how to gain the necessary skills and qualifications now when they're thinking about their future careers. So thank you so much for that, Katie, and we'll definitely be coming to speak with you more about that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and move over to the Japan America Society of Georgia with Trent Tsunafuji and Sophie Monsibais from Japan America Society. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do at your organization?
Hello. So Trent and I, we're a team on the PowerPoint. Trent, I'll tell you when I'm ready to move to this one. So we're the Japan America Society of Georgia, or JASG. Let me read you our mission statement real quick. So the Japan America Society of Georgia is a 501c nonprofit organization whose mission is to promote mutual understanding between the people of Japan and the state of Georgia through establishing and promoting ties and programs in the areas of business, culture, education, public affairs, and social networking. So Japan is a very big investor in Georgia, like financially, business-wise. This isn't something that I realized really until I started working with JASG. And that's because a lot of those business investments are in ways that I guess the average person, or maybe even the average person interested in Japan, wouldn't think about. Like I'm very interested in culture, so I don't think a lot about like manufacturing, and that's where a lot of the Japanese business investment in Georgia is in manufacturing. JASG is we're the Japan Society of Georgia, but there are actually a bunch of different Japan America societies spread out throughout the country. I'll get the exact number wrong if I try to say it, but there are at least 30. Some states, depending on their size, will have multiple Japan America societies. And what each society focuses on depends on the state and depends on the population and kind of what is going on in that state. But that's the overall thing for JASG. A big thing with JASG is that we ourselves are a little bit of a smaller organization. Like we have our interns, we have Trent, we have 3 or 4 interns right now.
3, including me.
3,
Yeah.
yes. We have 3 interns. And then we have 2 staff, and then there's like me and some other people who are kind of work closely with the organization but aren't in the office every single day. And so even though our organization itself is a little bit small, like staff wise, we have a lot of connections to other organizations. Like we work very closely with Japan Fest. There's a bridge organization that will send students, like elementary age students, to Japan. And that's kind of what comprises our network. So as per what we do, Trent, will you go to the next slide?
There you go.
Okay, so we offer a lot of opportunities. We are a membership-based opportunity. So you can become a member of JASG and have access to a lot of things. One thing we offer is language classes. Our language classes are pretty let's see, I wouldn't say that they're like up to a college level. They're sorry, that's my dog. They're intended for like business people or people who want to go to Japan and want to brush up on the language. We also have plenty of networking events. So one thing that I'm kind of in charge of doing right now is Nihongo Egokai and Kyobi Kai. That basically means like Japanese, English, and Tuesday meetings. So Nihongo Egokai, we offer an opportunity for people who are studying Japanese to meet people who are studying English and have a language exchange. If you are studying a foreign language, you might know it's kind of hard to find people who are also studying that language so you can practice, because, you know, a book will only get you so far. So we are really happy to be able to offer that opportunity to people. Our Tuesday meetings are just a way to like meet up at a restaurant and have more of a casual way to get to know people. Back when I joined, we were doing a lot of business webinars over Zoom. Now we'll do them in person. That's a great opportunity to meet people and to learn about different things that are going on in the business world. Since the Japanese investment is very into manufacturing, a lot of those will be related to things like that. And our membership, we have different tiers for, you can join as an individual, you can join as a student, which is at a lower rate. And we also have a lot of corporate members. So that would be like big Japanese businesses in the area that are part of our network. We move to the next one. All right, and then that's just some ways that you can stay in touch with us. We have our website, which has all of the information on upcoming events on it and more stuff about our organization, like our history. I forgot to mention earlier, we have been around since 1980. Then we have our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We use those to keep up with different events that are coming up. And sometimes we share like fun facts about Japan. And then we also have our LinkedIn. So that will be our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sophie, and thank your pup for us as well for letting us know how passionate it was about the organization in the background there. Definitely valuable insight for students learning language, and I'll be looking forward to speak with you more about your learning language background and how it helped you with your current position with the Japan America Society. Let's go ahead now to our last organization we have on the panel here.
You haven't asked Trent. Trent should be able to say a few words. He's a panel member.
Oh, sure. Trent, please. What can you share with us?
Thank you to whoever that was. So my name is Trent. I'm a senior at Georgia State University. Be hopefully graduating in the spring. And I am an intern at Japan American Society at Georgia. I heard about JASG through several of my teachers, and I wanted to join JSG because I really, well, not only am I like Japanese, but I've also wanted to know more about Japanese, like the business side more. And I already know the culture and know the language, but I wanted to get to know more about the business side and network. And so I've been doing JSG since January of this year, and I've been doing a lot of events and going out to places, and it's been very fun so far. It's a lot of work, but yeah, I have a good time there.
Okay, thank you so much, Trent. All right, let's go ahead and move to our final organization represented here. And that will be Asian Americans Advancing Justice with Noor. Noor, can you tell us a little bit more about what your organization does and how you got involved with them?
Sure. Thank you very much, Jessica. And thank you, Georgia State, for inviting Asian Americans Advancing Justice. My name is Noor Abbady, and I am the Director of Organizational Development at Asian Americans Advancing Justice. Asian Americans Advancing Justice is a national affiliation. So we have different affiliations in many states. There's no one single mother organization per se. So we operate independently, fiscally, and also operationally, but we collaborate in terms of our programs and the policies that we advocate for. Allow me to share a little bit more about the organization. Okay. Do you see the slide about the mission? Okay, great. All right, so the mission of Asian Americans Advancing Justice is to protect the civil rights of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, and Arab, Middle Eastern, Muslim, and South Asians, and other marginalized communities in Georgia and the Southeast. Now, Asian Americans Advancing Justice is actually the first nonprofit legal advocacy organization that's dedicated to serve these particular communities. Our vision is a social movement in which communities of color are fully empowered, active in civic life, and working together to promote equity, fair treatment, and self-determination for all. The priorities of our organization, these are like the top, if you may, big umbrella priorities, but under each one of these priorities, we also have like sub-priorities. The first priority that we have is immigrant justice, and then racial equity and voting rights. As I said, under each of these priorities, we also have sub-priorities that I'm more than happy to talk more about if you reach out to me after this presentation. Our approach is always community-centered and people-centered. We also have an intersectional approach to the work that we do because we understand that this work cannot be done by a single community or a single organization. And we're also bold and unapologetic in the work that we do. Now, just like CARE USA, we also have programmatic departments and we have our support departments. Our programmatic departments, hopefully this graph helps you visualize how we operate. So at the base of the pyramid that you see here, we have our civic engagement and organizing. We actually call it CEO. Now, CEO department aims to build a sustainable, community-centered movement to affect deep and long-term shifts in power, behavior, and culture through education, leadership development, and issue-based and electoral campaigns. We also have our policy advocacy department. The policy advocacy department is actually has been spending their time at the Capitol building over the past couple of months because the legislature is in session, as you all know. And what they do is they defend, protect, and advance racial, ethnic equity rights of Asian Americans and other immigrant communities. We focus on the basic rights like, education, healthcare, and mobility. That is, we believe should be equitable to all Georgians. And we also do a lot of language accessibility policy advocacy. And then we have our legal services department, which provides direct legal services, comprehensive and high quality immigration legal services to immigrant communities in Georgia. The team is multilingual and assists low-income immigrants in obtaining lawful status, becoming citizens, and defending against deportation. The team also does a lot of educational work in order to empower immigrants through free immigration legal workshops, something that we call Know Your Rights workshop, and we go to different public libraries and other public spaces. We open it to the community, and you'll see it in our social media anytime we're offering that. We also have our litigation department. Litigation department and policy work hand in hand. The litigation is comprised of lawyers, litigators, and paralegals, and the policy department is technically policy people. The litigation team combines civil rights litigation with other strategies in order to expand the legal protection for the communities we serve and advocates against unjust and oppressive laws and policies. Our support functions are communications, the fund development, HR, and finance. Right now, we're a total of roughly 35 employees in Atlanta. We're not the largest for sure. We were the smallest in size compared to our affiliates, but we're not anymore. We're actually one of the largest now in the United States. All right, so now that you have learned about Asian Americans Advancing Justice Atlanta and the work that we do. If you're interested in the work that we're doing and you feel that there's alignment between our mission and what you like to do, there's several opportunities for you to get involved in our organization. Here's actually the first one of them. We do have a couple of opening opportunities. If you can scan the QR code, this is going to take you to a link in which we post our careers on our website. So please feel free to scan it and save it. Keep an eye on it. We do have a couple that are open now, but there's always something that's coming up.
Great. Thank you so much, Noor, for that overview.
Oh,
of your
I still have a couple. Do I have a minute?
Yes, you do. Yes, please.
Okay, great. So the first one was actually careers. The second one is internships. Or did I skip one? Actually, the second one is volunteering. This QR code is a different one, and it will take you to our volunteer form that you can fill, and you will be entered into our volunteer database. Our volunteers, we'll always have volunteering opportunities that are open, some in community organizing and some in some of the events that we have. We do offer usually a stipend for volunteers, and also we cover and reimburse gas and meals. We actually do have a couple of volunteering opportunities that are coming up in April. So if you're interested, I just dropped in the chat box the email of my colleague Dania, who will be coordinating volunteering opportunities for a couple of events that are coming up next month. And then the last opportunity for you to be involved is actually internships. We do have a few internships that are available. If you would like or you're interested, the first one is for our comms or communications department for the summer. So if you're a comms person, social media, drafting communication documents, you name it, then that's going to be the internship for you. The second one is for our development department, and this person needs to be familiar with Google Drive basically, and has a high attention to details, and that they have some familiarity with writing grant proposals. Our legal services is also looking for somebody in the summer, possibly in the fall, and they will be helping with organizing some of our events in the community. Now this QR code, and this is going to be the last QR code that I have, will take you to our team. So please go ahead and scan it if you are interested, and look at the departments. So this is similar actually to what Katie said earlier. Look at our team. And if you find a team that matches really your interests and skill sets and you would like to be involved, I highly encourage you to directly email the director of that team. You will find their contact information there. Talk to them, let them know that you're interested in the work that they do and that you would like to be in touch or know if there are any opportunities that are open sometime soon. In any case, the internships would also be available on our career page as well. Last but not least, if you find this interesting and you would like to know more about Asian Americans Advancing Justice, please do not hesitate to send me an email. And I'm going to put my email in the chat box. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Noor. That's fantastic. You gave the students a bunch of actionable items that they can start to engage right away. I'm sure they appreciate the opportunity for a paid internship. I saw a comment in the chat that most of the opportunities, especially when you're beginning, you kind of have to be prepared that they would be unpaid or, you know, not what you were expecting at first, but it's getting you the experience that you need. So that paid or stipend volunteer opportunity, I'm sure is an attractive opportunity. So since thank you again to the panelists for your presentations and telling us more about your organizations and the important work you do. We are going to move on to the moderated panel, and I want to start with our students in the session today. So we have a few Georgia State students who are current students and a recent graduate, and I'm sure everyone would like to know or would gain a lot of valuable insight from learning more about anything that you wish someone would have told you that would have helped you make a wise career choice, or anything that someone has told you that's helped you make a wise career choice as you've gotten into these positions. So specifically Tayla, Erika, a recent graduate, and Trent, can you tell us anything that someone told you that helped you in your current position to make a wise career choice, or something you wish someone would have told you? And Tayla, we can start with you.
Yeah. So I think the best advice someone ever gave me was one of my professors freshman year. He told me that, as I said, I'm a political science major. He said that the best thing I can tell you is like, get try to find internships and volunteer experiences in each career sector to make sure that like this is what you want to do. Because like at first I wanted to go into law, and then I switched my concentration over to international affairs and policy studies because I felt like that fit my interest a bit more, and I feel like I can do more nonprofit work that way. And so I think that was the best career advice someone gave me.
That's great. I get a variety of experiences as you're going into your choices. What about you, Erika, as a recent graduate? Can you tell us, is there anything someone told you that helped you in your current position, or something you wish you would have been told?
So kind of to go off of what Tayla was saying, do internships. I didn't do internships until my senior year, and that just kind of exploded my networking opportunities. And try to build those relationships with your professors. A lot of the opportunities that I got, like I got volunteering opportunities, and then, you know, this internship opportunity at the IRC. And then I actually did I did an internship with the French American Chamber of Commerce my last semester back in fall. And that was all through me staying after class just a couple minutes to talk to my professors. So try to build those relationships, make yourself stand out, because your teachers are going to remember you a bit more, and they'll think of you when they're thinking about opportunities. Like, let your teachers know what you're interested in, and take advantage of those networks that they have as well.
Thank you for that, Erika. And yeah, that was building on what Katie said earlier about, you know, one of the really important steps that you're taking as you're preparing to go out into the work field is to lean on your network and, you know, understand that that's a valuable part of this process. What about you, Trent? Any advice that you can offer to students that you wish someone would have told you, or advice that you can share?
Yeah, so I would say to focus on building connections and networking. And as well as, you know, when you're in school, you think of grades. Both networking and grades are both equally valuable. But in a workforce, in an internship, your boss is not going to give you like an A+ for your, for your volunteer work or something like that. You want to build off your skills and learn to network. Just like Erika, I kind of just started to do my internship now as I'm a senior and about to graduate, and I wish I would have gone to more networking events or just events in general and just help build my networking like that. But both, like I said, both networking and grades are important for everything. And also just to keep both your mental and physical health in shape, because both of those are just very important in general.
Yeah, thank you so much for that important work. And I do kind of want to pivot a little bit. So we're talking about networking and kind of as you're getting your feet wet, but I do want to kind of pivot to more of the professional side of it. What steps can students take now to improve their chances of landing a career or beginning a career or landing a job in a global organization in the future? So I'm going to kind of go to you, Katie, with this, because it seems like there may not be that many opportunities with CARE to engage right now, but students can start thinking about the future. What steps, though, can they take now as they're considering their future? Oh, Katie, you're muted. Sorry.
I've been trying to be very careful about that, but anyway, yeah. So I do think that knowing about the communities we serve is really, really important. And sometimes you can get overseas to do that in something like the Peace Corps, which is a lot of people go from undergraduate into the Peace Corps. Sometimes that might not be possible for you. But here in Atlanta, we have a lot of refugee communities. So there is an opportunity to get that kind of exposure to other cultures and things that I think is very valuable. So I think that that base of experience is really good. And then, CARE is a large and very established nonprofit, but there are lots of organizations. Some of them are in this room, and there's a whole list of, Zoom room. And there's a whole list of other organizations that are working on similar issues. I would encourage you to look into the Council of World Affairs for Atlanta, because they have a lot of talks that are like open to the public. They actually, I think, have a youth student arm, but it's a great way to learn about some of the international issues that are affecting Atlanta and people in Atlanta who are involved in working with those things. And those types of events are where you could meet people who are working in some of the areas you might be interested in. And again, they may not have a job to hand you tomorrow, but it's a name, it's a connection on LinkedIn. It helps you have your ear to the ground in terms of what might be out there and what might be a good opportunity for you. So.
Sure, thank you for that. And I think similarly, Noor, and I wanted to kind of go to Noor and also Shannon about this, because it does sound like there are opportunities in your organizations that students can engage today. Aside from kind of reaching out and exploring the QR codes and things like that, what can they do now to get involved? Just reach out, contact you. What's the best step that they can take right now to get involved?
It's actually a combination. A lot of people, when they reach out, especially if they're still students, last year students, or just fresh graduates, when they reach out and they show that they've done their homework, they have researched the organization, showed why they're actually interested in it. This is what catches our eye when we look at applications or emails. So if you're really interested, do not hesitate to share a story, whether it's a family story, personal story, to share that you're interested in the work that we do because, and then you list something that we do. And then I cannot really highlight volunteering enough, according to in alignment to what Katie said. Me personally, most of the opportunities that I had in my career journey came from some kind of volunteering. It just opened so many doors for me. So none of it actually was paid, but it provided me with a network that I actually need to know, who are the movers and shakers in the space that I'm actually interested in, and build relationships with them, see how I can contribute. So it's not just me getting a position or an opportunity. What is it that I can provide for them in order to help them with their mission and the work that they do? And I also want to say that I was going to say something, but it escaped me. I was going to say something so profound, but I forgot it. But when I remember it, I'm going to say it again. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that do not hesitate to reach out, volunteer whenever you can, look what's in it for the organization. You're always going to benefit from that, and build your network. So.
Thank you so much. Yeah, before we move over to Shannon to answer, you're right. It's not just about what the student can get out of the experience, but these organizations are all serving communities. So in what ways can you serve and show up, and how does that align with your personal goals as well? Shannon, what can you tell us about how students can get involved and what steps they can take now? Shannon, I think you're muted.
Yes, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. Well, our organization here at Clarkston Community Center, we have many volunteers that have come through and volunteered with us here at the center. A lot of ways that we instruct people or advise people to want to get involved with us is through our actual website, which is clarkstoncommunitycenter.org. They can go on there, they can register, for the volunteer opportunities on there, as well as the internships through there. I will say, to almost like piggyback off Noor and the others, that networking is the key in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. The more that you network, the more people are willing to help you, the more you get involved, the better your outcome is. And that's basically it, what I have to say. So we welcome all people, walks of life who want to, volunteer. We have a very diverse group here we're a small organization, nonprofit. However, we do impact greatly with the community and those that serve and volunteer as well.
And quickly, I'm going to invite Erika and Katie to speak. They have their hands raised. I did want to circle back to the Japan America folks and ask you a question about foreign language studies. But before we get there, we only have 5 minutes left. Katie, please go ahead and share your thoughts.
Okay, I will try to be very quick, but one of the things when Noor was saying, it becomes apparent if someone's done their homework, if they know about the organization, know what they want to do. When when you are applying to a role, often you're applying in an applicant tracking system, whatever, but including a cover letter explaining why this organization and what you can contribute is a great way to differentiate yourself from the other people. Because again, that's where it shows that you've done your homework, you know about the organization, you can make a case for what you can contribute to the organization. So I wanted to sort of point that out too. Thank you.
Yes, Erika, did you have a thought you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't think anyone's mentioned AmeriCorps. So we have mentioned Peace Corps, but AmeriCorps is a way that you can get involved with nonprofit organizations. You will get paid. It will be a stipend as opposed to like an hourly rate, but AmeriCorps is a great opportunity as well.
Thank you so much. And I agree with that. And as a returned Peace Corps volunteer, I can also speak to what Katie said, that, yeah, kind of doing your due diligence, getting out there, volunteering, doing the work ahead of time before you're looking to kind of liaise into a corporate position. Lastly, really quickly, maybe Sophie, can you tell us more about, did you study a foreign language? Is it necessary to have this language learning background to be able to get involved with organizations that deal with specific communities of people?
I did study Japanese for a little bit in college, and I am still studying it right now. I would say particularly with my path, it is important. And if you want to kind of progress in the Japanese sphere of things, it is important to learn the language. Like if you're just doing volunteer work, there's a lot of Japanese people who will speak English and can speak to you. But if you kind of want to propel any kind of career, maybe not even working in Japan, but like working with big, like the Japanese consulate, something like that, it has become increasingly important to learn Japanese. And that's kind of a roadblock that I am hitting, is that my Japanese isn't at the level that I can really progress, which is why I do suggest learning a foreign language.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. And, while we're at it, and there's time for one more thing. I saw this was coming up in the chat a lot. A lot of our students are international students, and they would like to know, do you have to be a U.S. citizen to be involved and to get involved with your organizations? Can everyone just answer that quickly?
No.
For full-time employment, I mean, they need to have some kind of status that allows them, meaning we do not necessarily sponsor work visa, but anything else, volunteering, internships, stipend included, we do not care about the status of our volunteers.
Perfect.
And I guess what I would say too is there's the you all might be already aware, but the curricular, after your first year of studies, you can do a curricular practical training placement with an outside organization in many cases. So yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This has been extremely helpful. I hope that our audience got something out of this session. Thank you for sharing your time, your information about your organizations and these opportunities at your organizations with us today. And we also want to thank our audience for coming. And, we hope you enjoyed the session. Please join the Global Career Series tomorrow for the session about global business, commerce, and trade at 1 p.m. There will be representatives there from the International Trade Administration, the World Trade Center, and TransGlobe. Also, and speaking about networking, many of the Global Career Series organizations will be recruiting students at an in-person Atlanta Global Studies Symposium on Friday, April 14th. So you can come shake hands with representatives at the GSU College of Law between 9:30 and 10:45 a.m. And to learn more, we will pop a link in the chat there, and you can visit that link to learn more. Just to let you know, the Global Career Series sessions will be available on the Global Career Series YouTube page. So give it a few days for it to upload if you wanted to kind of review any information that was gone over. And finally, I'd like to thank the Atlanta Global Studies Center, the Center for Urban Language Teaching and Research, University Career Services, the Global Studies Program, and GSU Study Abroad programs for organizing this series and providing wonderful opportunity for students to learn more about these organizations and how they can better themselves and prepare for careers in the international industry. So we thank you for joining. Have a fantastic afternoon. Thank you again to the panelists, and we hope to see you tomorrow for the next session.